Friday, November 19th, 2021. It is time for news in the Queen's language. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us live in Yaoundé for the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. Here are the headlines. As Cameroon joined the rest of the globe to commemorate this Friday, November 19th, the World Toilet Day, it has been noticed that about 450,000 Cameroonians lack access to a toilet. This is the problem the Ministry of Water and Energy and partners seeks to solve by discussing on the importance of investing in toilet and measures to take in the maintenance of toilet sanitary conditions. The Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Mununa Futsu, has this Friday, November 19th, presided over the first ever session of the Steering Committee of the Joint Government and United Nations Youth Connect Cameroon program to evaluate the successes of the program in Cameroon so far. Organized by the Conference of Ministers of Youth and Sport of the La Francophonie member countries, the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Narcisse Moel Ekombi, has officially launched a 10-day training camp for about 50 athletes and trainers drawn from Congo, Chad, Gabon, and Cameroon. Those were our headlines. We'll be right back. As you heard in one of our headlines, the Ministry of Water and Energy and partners has this Friday, November 19, celebrated the World Toilet Day. Under the theme of Valuing Toilet, it was a venue to discuss on the importance of investing in the maintenance of toilet sanitary conditions in Cameroon. We have details in the following report. Toilets play a very important role in our daily life and therefore deserve to be valued. This embodied to the 9th edition of World Toilet Day, celebrated this November 19th by the Ministry of Water and Energy and its partners, aimed at discussing on the importance of investing in the maintenance of toilet sanitary conditions.
The importance for the nation to provide citizens with toilet is at multi-level. The first one is to improve health. If you do have access to toilet, if you improve access to toilet, we improve health. If we have access to toilet, we improve dignity and the well-being of population. Can you imagine what will be the learning condition of a school of 500, 600 children without toilets or access to water?
Discussing the appropriate means to provide toilets to about 450,000 Cameroonians who, according to UNICEF, lack access to toilet is also of great necessity.
Investing in sanitation have a very significant return on investment. As I mentioned, $1 invested in toilets provide about $4 in return investments, beside the gain that we have in public health, in dignity, and etc. So we need really to invest. And this is not an issue that concerns simply the ministry and its partners. It's all about us. 450,000 persons still do not have access of any form of toilet in the country. This should call for urgent action. Taking care of our toilets helps in improving public health, gender equality, education, economic development, and environmental protection. The Ministry of Water and Energy has, however, taken some actions to safely manage toilet sanitations.
I'm developing another strategy, the marketing of sanitation, in order to facilitate access to population to have all of what they need to have toilets in their household. But now we are developing again a project which will help our communities to have toilets in public areas.
All in all, this struggle does not only concern the Ministry of Water and Energy and its partners, but equally a call for the general population to come together and take actions in raising awareness on the need to ameliorate in the quality of toilets in our country. The first ever session of the Steering Committee of the Government and United Nations Youth Connect Cameroon program was held this day in Yaoundé. The event, which brought together representatives of the United Nations as well as partners, private and public institutions, was under the chairmanship of the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Mununa Fotso. Jan Nenkam was present and brought back the following report.
Bringing together representatives of the United Nations system in Cameroon, those of partner public and private ministries and institutions, the ambassador of Youth Connect Cameroon, Francois Pueni, among many others, this Friday in Yaoundé was the first ever session of the Steering Committee of the Joint Government United Nations Youth Connect Cameroon program.
It's my pleasure to be in this noble activity government. So now, when I say in the minister today, I will put all my energy to continue to implement this new government vision. I'm not even satisfied, but I think we'll continue to manage.
Unfolding under the auspices of Youth Affairs and Civic Education boss Mununa Foto, this first ever session was a forum for these actors to do a retrospective of achievements made so far, identify setbacks hindering the achievement of the desired objectives, with recommendations made at the end of it all for possible solutions. Analyzing the achievements of the program so far, Minister Munona Fotu expressed satisfaction with the present session, expected to adopt the 2022 budget to be implemented next year. The second anniversary of the Youth Connect Cameroon program has been announced for the 9th of December 2021, which will be an avenue to enhance and promote products of young beneficiaries of the program. For the news flash, the government of Cameroon, through the Youth Affairs and Civic Education Ministry, actively involved in the program, is looking for ways to solve the unending problem of unemployment in the country, going a long way to tackle the economic situation positively.
We continue with that story to say Mr. Mununa Futso, while chairing the event, expressed satisfaction on the successes made by the program so far and acknowledging the fact that there is still much to be done. Let's listen to the minister's excerpt carefully selected to us by Jan Nenkam.
Youth Connect Cameroon initiative is already being implemented more than 1 year, but effectively it's in 2021 that it started to be implemented considering the context of COVID-19. So till now we can be proud of the achievement, particularly in the domain of connection. More than 400,000 young people have been already interconnected. It means that it's important, over the 1 million expected. So, and for the job creation is about 6,000. So it means also is an important result. But many things remains to be done, and that's why this steering committee session is very important after the approval of the Prime Minister to put it in place, because it's within that steering committee that will really put in place the project management unit. And because till now it was a task force that was in charge of the implementation, comprising all the stakeholders. But now we'll really have a project management unit which will be dedicated and more performant, because they'll anticipate in the planification and follow-up. And that's why within this, in the agenda of this steering committee, we have the plan of action of 2022. It means that the budget will be adopted immediately, and so that by the beginning of the 2022 we'll start implementation. This is very important for the performance of the program.
Let's now talk something very interesting, where Edward Manga has just made his entry into the Cameroonian technological innovation. He was able to seduce his audience during his presentation of his invention of the Meha-to-Meta cluster, a practical engine for cars with a simple mechanism to help reduce production and ease maintenance. The presentation ceremony took place on Thursday, November 18th at the Immeuble Africa Business Center in Yaoundé. Ruth Fonyong was present and compiled the following report.
Meha-to-M cluster is a project which has as motto "S'unir pour réussir," an invention of Edouard Manga in motor automobile, which has been dedicated to the motoring sector and with the mobility to integrate about 100 small and medium-sized enterprises. This newly created engine is said to be lighter than others, and it works for cars, trains, aeroplanes and ships.
Le moteur est un transformateur d'énergie.
The engine is an energy transformer. It gives fissile energy to fuel, and we can calculate the quantity of this energy in terms on colors contained in the fuel. When the engine receives fuel, the fuel is transformed to mechanic energy. The older engine version has had new innovations and modifications, but the output remains weak and less than 40%. And today, this new engine invention permits the engine to increase its might and output.
Cette invention permet à ce moteur-là de monter ce rendement-là.
This new prototype is less fuel consuming, it eases pollution, and it is faster. A prototype made and it is secured before finally making it come to existence. On this note, he pleads on the government to support him in this heavy project.
D'être accompagné. Et cet accompagnement vaut protection.
I need to be supported, and it is especially for protection. I wish that the government supports this project, and if possible, own it, because it is really heavy. It is great and enormous. This idea which is coming to change things in the concept of engines.
Ce qui vient changer dans le concept des moteurs.
The presentation of the invention, a new type of distribution engine for the automobile sector by Edouard Manga, took place at the conference hall of the Immeuble Africa Business Center here in Yaoundé.
Bayam Salam in pear business are complaining of the scarcity of pear and limited supply as it is not the season. Our reporter Ann Omeko visited some pear traders in the Mokolo market in Yaoundé in a bid to know the difficulties they encounter during this period. Let's take a listen.
Pear fruit is still very scarce and expensive in the market. Bayam Selems specialize in buying and selling of pear say it is not the season and prices vary depending on the different bags in which pears are measured and sold.
C'est le sac de 25 kilos.
This is a bag of 25 kilograms. I bought it for 7,000 francs. We can buy the bag of 50 kilograms for 15,000 francs, 20,000 francs or 25,000 francs, depending on the sizes and quality of pear. This is because some can look big, but of low quality, and others small and very nice.
Business is very slow and affects a profit.
Actually, there is not much benefit. I can sell and have a benefit of 2,000 francs. When you buy a bag of good quality for 15,000 francs, you have a consistent profit. But when they are small, no profit. This pear can all be sold today, or some remains for tomorrow. You know that business is a lottery.
c'est la loterie.
Due to the fact that this is not the season of pear, most of these women selling in the Mokolo market here in Yaoundé rely solely on farmers and wholesalers importing pear to the capital from Okola, Monatele and Betwa villages. A heap of pear now costs 500 francs and more, depending on the size and quality. Lovers of pear fruit will still have to wait for weeks as the season of abundance is near.
Researchers and experts in the production of cassava met on Thursday, November 18th to present their research on how to improve on cassava production, ameliorate chain values in Cameroon and Central Africa as a whole. And Omeko took part in the ceremony and brought back the following report.
Cassava is a long tuberous starchy root mostly used in Cameroon for the production of gari, water fufu, bobolo, yogurt, flour to bake bread, and more. To valorize this sector for a durable production of cassava in Cameroon and Central Africa as a whole and its integration in the market, experts meet to present research works at the Agricultural Research Center in Yaoundé, November 18, 2021.
This workshop has a main objective of presenting the main results that were obtained by all the researchers of Central Africa. And the second phase of this project will certainly focus on how to diffuse to the end users who are farmers, small farmers, the results of this project, as well as research results from other projects all around concerning cassava.
Results will expand for industrial purposes.
Researchers with their other stakeholders will certainly see how these results could expand for industrial production.
Local producers still face problems as this sector is not well structured.
The production is there, but we are unable to sell. The market is not well structured because at times there are customers who impose prices on the market, and valorizing this product will instill the habit of using them. People do not know that cassava can be used to produce many things and consumed in different ways.
There are steps to improve the quality and quantity of cassava production.
In innovation platforms, you get all stakeholders for the value chain on board to begin working, thinking, and make sure that at the end of the day, the results are well known by everybody. So youth, women, seniors, everybody will be in the board.
Cultivated in large quantity in Cameroon, if valorized, will create jobs and contribute to the sustainable development of the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, you're watching the 6 p.m. news over Camdi's television. Let's now talk sport, where 50 athletes and trainers drawn from Gabon, Chad, Congo, and Cameroon are currently taking part in a training camp in Yaoundé organized by the Conference of Ministers of Youth and Sport of La Francophonie member countries. The 10-day training camp was officially launched by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Narcisse Moel Ekombi. Isengong Kum took part and brought back the following report.
Cameroon and the Central African sub-region has serious ambitions ahead of the 2026 Youth Olympic Games scheduled for Senegal. During the launching ceremony of the 10-day training camp in Yaoundé, dubbed Club Confégès, this Friday, the Secretary General of the Conference of Ministers of Youth and Sport of the La Francophonie member countries stressed on the importance of preparation.
We are here today to launch the Club Confégès, which has particularity of training high-level future athletes. You must have noticed that children are young. This is because Africa is preparing to host the 2026 Youth Olympic Games in Senegal. This is the perfect time to prepare them. We choose athletics because it's a discipline that has permitted the Central African sub-region and the region of Great Lakes to write golden pages of high-level athleticism in the world.
The young athletes and trainers drawn from Gabon, Chad, Congo and Cameroon will receive best practices on how to better prepare themselves ahead of the international competition. The experts have prepared a very rich program on the preparation of the young athletes and equally a training camp for the technical supervisors that are present here. This will help us detect fresh talent ahead of the 2026 Youth Olympic Games that Africa will host in Senegal. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Mwele Kombi, who presided over the launching ceremony, congratulated the Cameroonian-born Louisette Renée Toby for her brilliant election as Secretary General of Conféges last February in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, before thanking her for choosing Cameroon to host the training camp. The Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Marie-Thérèse Abena Ondoa, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, Joseph Yerima, and the Secretary General of the Cameroon Athletics Federation, Charles Kokote, among many others, answered present for the ceremony. The training camp is expected to contribute in the emergence of athletic talent that will make the African continent proud in the Global Sports Bonanza Camp 2026.
And on to news out of the country, the transitional president of Guinea, Mamadi Doumbouya, has reiterated his vision of a successful transition of his various ministers. He was speaking this Thursday during a meeting under the CNRD. We have these and more with Ruth Fonyo.
Guinea's transitional president, Mamadi Doumbouya, promises smooth transition of power. This was said during his first meeting of ministers, which took place on Thursday, November 18th. At the meeting, the newly appointed transitional prime minister, Mohamed Biavogui, said the transition will be done in a limited time. This is to prepare the foundations for a better Guinea of tomorrow. Condé was the first democratically elected president in 2010 and was re-elected in 2015. He pushed through a controversial new constitution that allowed him to run for a term in October 2020, which caused chaos in the country. Exiled Burundian lawyer Amel Niyongere, an opposition figure, on Thursday called on the international community and France not to resume cooperation with Burundi, where he said human rights are not respected. Sentenced to life imprisonment in his home country under threat for defending several opponents, Amel Niyongere found refuge in Belgium in 2014. In an executive order, U.S. President Joe Biden said the situation that had justified the sanctions, including killings and violence against civilians and political repression, had been significantly altered by the events of the past. Thousands of volunteers clap and cheer as these civilians military recruits march through a school playing field in Addis Ababa, chanting the name of Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The civilians recruits went through 2 days of military training with the aim of equipping themselves to defend the Ethiopian capital against advancing Tigrayans. The Tigray forces also say they are pressuring Ethiopia's government to lift a months-long blockade on the Tigray region, which includes an Ethiopian government restriction on flights over Tigray.
It was the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. But before we leave you, a recap of our major points. As Cameroon joined the rest of the globe to commemorate this Friday, November 19th, the World Toilet Day, it has been noticed that about 450,000 Cameroonians lack access to toilet. This is the problem the Ministry of Water and Energy and partners seeks to solve by discussing on the importance of investing in toilet and measures to take in the maintenance of toilet sanitary conditions. The Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Monuna Futsu, has this Friday, November 19th, presided over the first ever session of the Steering Committee of the Joint Government and United Nations Youth Connect Cameroon program to evaluate the successes of the program in Cameroon so far. Organized by the Conference of Ministers of Youth and Sport of the La Francophonie member countries, the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Narcisse Moel Ekombi, has officially launched a 10-day training camp for about 50 athletes and trainers drawn from Congo, Chad, and Gabon, and Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Claude Mayo will be with you when it's exactly 8 p.m. for news in the French language. But until then, do stay tuned to interesting programs over the Republican television. Have a blessed weekend.